Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be going through one of our more popular barbecue steaks, a flat iron steak, and how we can turn a cross cut, one of our more cheaper cuts, into the flat iron steak. Stay tuned guys. First things first, today I'm going to be using a 6-inch boning knife, just something that's a bit smaller, a bit easier to handle. You can use a big knife, I mean it just depends how flexible it is and how easy it's going to be. So yeah, first thing when I'm doing my flat iron steaks, I just want to take all the fat off the top of my cross cut. So that's probably that's where we're going to start. When you're trimming, just make sure that when you have your knife down, don't point the blade down, make sure it's up, okay? So almost like we run the back of the knife along the meat there, and then the knife is pointed up, because if we point down we're going to cut straight into the meat, which is going to make it a bit of a mess. So yeah, so I'm just going to trim all this fat off. So again, just the fat, okay? So fat off, and we want to kind of clear it all just so we can see this nice silver skin here. So I'm going to carry on trimming that. So ideally you want the fat with no meat on it, that's the goal. Awesome. Once the majority of it's cleared, we can see that we've got this nice silver skin here. So this is where things get a little bit trickier. So with the silver skin, we need to go under it. We don't want to cut into it. If we cut into it, we're going to start slashing the meat. So you kind of just start through and what you want to do is just poke under it. Okay, and then all we're going to do is point the knife upwards. The silver skin's quite strong, so that as long as we brush the knife along it quite nice and smoothly without trying to force it through, we should be able to just stay under it there. This is a bit of a timely process, so I've just come under, and now all I'm going to do is do the opposite, but coming back. So we want to try not to take any of the meat off with this, okay? So I've got a little bit of the meat there. Now I'm just going to carry on and do the same again, pointing the knife up. This is quite a challenging thing, so it can take a bit of time. Any of this stuff too, guys, you can trim out and use for any mince trim or anything like that. If you're wanting to make sausages or any kind of patties or anything like that, it's great, so we can keep that aside. You're not going to get it right first time. It is a hard thing to do, so get better as you go. So yeah, trim that out. Cool, and a nice little bit there. If you leave this silver skin on, guys, it's really tough, so we don't want to leave any of it on really. I mean, crosscut's designed to cook low and slow over a long period of time in a crock pot, so it's one of those things you kind of need to take off if you're going to turn it into a barbecue steak. Alright, next step, so I've cleared all the top there. Now what I'm going to do is look at the front there, and we can see that we've got a nice little bit of sinew and a bit of chewy stuff there. So what we're going to do, we need to take that off. So all we're going to do is cut an inch in. I like to make a cut halfway through, about an inch in, not going all the way through. We only want to cut to about halfway where we can see this nice silver line here. Okay, so don't push too hard, just kind of brush against it. So we've got a gap now. All I'm going to do is trim that last little bit of meat off that's sitting there. Chuck that off the side again, that can go for patties, anything like that. Now we can see a nice thick silver coating there. Okay, so all I'm going to do now, we need to remove the top of this meat. So this line along here, we're going to remove all this part. Okay, that's going to be our first flat iron steak. Okay, so all I do is make a little cut, and it kind of, you want to grip onto it, so you're not like kind of letting it slip out of your hands. And all I'm going to do is point the knife down and run it flat along that silver. Work your way down slowly. Try not to cut through too much. This is probably one of the harder things to do. So there you can see that line I was saying about. Again, you kind of tend to take a little bit of that silver off. It is really hard to get really clean. So once we've taken that top bit off there, I'm just going to do the exact same I did on the top and kind of peel that off. Okay, and this is again good for your patties, good for your sausages, any of that kind of stuff. I'm just going to take any of that out. Again, because we're fast frying this, we need all this stuff out. A little bit of silver there. Even if you did want to get yourself a mincer, I mean they're pretty cheap, the little hand ones, so don't spend too much. So now that we've trimmed all the silver off, just carry on going around, just make sure all that is off. Just any extra little bits there. So there we've got our first flat iron steak. Next bit, now we need to remove the second part. So before I do that, I've left a little bit of trim here. So again, like this stuff happens, so just make sure that you're trimming it all out. So I'm just going to carry on along that silver and take that little bit off. And then I'm going to put it in my trim pile there. Okay, cool, majority of it's off. Now all I'm going to do is do the exact same thing that I did before. On the top half, do an inch cut, just down to that silver there. See it's there. Then I'm going to point my knife down. And again, taking that silver out. Then we've got a nice bit of silver that's been taken out there. We've got a little bit of meat on it, so we're going to trim that off. Again, no wastage. Always get everything you can out of this. Anything there. Okay, that silver's pretty tough. They reckon you can tie a car with it, so we don't really want to be eating it. Awesome. Alright, now we've still got the same stuff that we had on the last one, so we're just going to trim any of that little excess silver skin out. Go on and mince. Again guys, be pedantic with this kind of stuff. Want to make sure the steak's really nice. Cool. There. Nice little bit of silver. Now I'll flip it over. We've got the bottom side there. Steel. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We've got that silver skin all along there. So we're going to do the same thing. Just point it up. Yeah, this stuff here we can chuckle on patties, sausages. Screw it up a bit. Take all that out. And you can see that we've got something that's not quite even, so I'm just going to take this last little bit out. We want it to be nice and flat so it's an even cook. Okay, so that's that. A little bit out there. The last little bit of silver there. Awesome. That's pretty good, so it's right about where we want it, without being too fussy. Alrighty, so there we've got our two flat iron steaks. Next step I always like to take when I'm making flat iron steaks, I always usually like to tenderize them a little bit. That's just personal. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I'm gonna do that. So out of these ones, I'll probably get two flat iron steaks. You can leave them whole. I'm just gonna cut them in half just for sake. So I'm gonna cut those in half. And then we're gonna do trick is with tenderizing or flattening anything, I always like to use a bag, and I've got my tenderizer. Okay, so the bag trick is pretty good. It stops it from sticking to the table or sticking to your tenderizer. So a trick you can learn. So all I do is put my two steaks on there, like such. Now I just fold the bag over. Really easy. Again, stops it being a little bit messy. So you don't have to pound them. They don't have to be like schnitzels or anything like that. I just want to give them a little bit of a bang, just to make them a bit more tender. Second one. And we'll do the other two. Cool. So there we've got our 4 little bits of flat iron steak right there. Now generally, I mean, like this is a great barbecue cut, and it's really cheap and efficient. I mean, this cost me, I think it was $12 today. I got them on special, so like it's a really efficient cut, like opposed to getting your Scotch fillets, your sirloin steaks, all that kind of stuff. It's just a different alternative, and they're really tasty. So that wraps up how to do flat iron steaks today, guys. Stay tuned for more easy barbecue cuts and great butchery advice.